How about we talk about imposter syndrome and how that's affecting your ability to actually sell your offer because it's too much. It's driving you crazy. So here's the thing. To be honest with you, a lot of people face imposter syndrome. And for the most part, what I feel is like, that's not true at all. If you're watching this or you're listening to this, you know that you're not actually an imposter. You're not actually a fraud selling something that you do not know how to do, and you're taking people's money and running away or anything like that, right? And yet you see these people who have a lot less credentials than you, and they're making all of this money, and you're like, what's going on, my friend? ¿Qué pasa? ¿Qué es lo que está pasando, right? So I want to really go there because I think that this is a very important conversation to have and to dive a little bit deep into so that we kind of move through it and kind of get over it, right? So here's the thing. I believe that imposter syndrome comes from or because a variety of things. Number one, probably a lot of shame around not getting all of your clients the results that you sell. Let's go there. Yes, sí, vamos para allá. Let's go there, right? Because here's the thing. You know that you're good at what you do. You know it. You know you've done the research, you got certified, you have experience, you have knowledge, you've done this for yourself, you've done this for people. But the fact that not every single one of your clients has been getting stellar results, like really stellar results, ends up really affecting you. Or maybe you're not at that place yet. Maybe you're still beginning and you haven't had clients, but the fear around what if my clients don't get results is really affecting you too, right? And what happens is that you start wobbling in your own certainty, especially when the last client that hired you did not get quite the results that you promised them, right? And that is messing with your mind. So that's a tough part of it. The other tough part of it is you yourself might be struggling with the things that you are selling. And you feel like you're hiding this part of you in your like perfectly curated feed and you're posting the things you're putting out there. Yet inside you're like, oh my God, if only these people knew how much I'm struggling with the things that I'm selling them, right? So what happens is that these things start eroding your confidence, like taking it away, right? You're like, I'm really good at what I do. I know I'm good at what I do, but what if these people don't get results? But what if they knew that I'm struggling with it? And it really starts affecting you and you start holding back. And maybe not necessarily always consciously, you might be doing the work and you might be showing up and you might be posting on social media and you might be building your webinar, your video series or whatever you're doing, and you're running ads and spending money on this and doing all the things. But internally, you are struggling because that imposter syndrome is really affecting you and it's affecting your confidence. And one thing that I've really learned is that at the end of the day, honestly, what really makes a sale is certainty. It's certainty. It's unwavering certainty. Like the more in your power you are, where you're like, heck, like this is the most amazing offer that could possibly exist in the world. Like you would be a fool to not work with me. You would be crazy to not work with me. O sea, estás loco, right? I don't know why I'm doing so much Spanish today. Sorry. But it's like that, right? It's like that energy, that power, that belief in yourself. That is the thing that actually sells. So when you are on the front end being like, I have my messaging, I have this, I have that, I have this other thing, I have my website, I have my funnel. But internally you're like, oh my God, what if this person doesn't get a result? And oh my God, I'm struggling with this or I'm struggling with that. That means that you end up holding back so much of you. And that, my friends, is literally the thing that ends up affecting you and hindering you from making those sales. So let's unpack some of the reasons and some of the pieces why this is happening, because I think that this is really important. The first piece, in my experience, has to do with outcomes, right? A lot of times we are so pushed by the industry and telling us we need to sell something that is tangible, measurable, and like it has to be this thing like that's like very rigid. And what happens is that a lot of people are putting themselves in these holes around the outcome that they deliver. You know, you are a life coach and here you are promising that you're going to help somebody make $1 million next month when you've hit, or maybe let's not exaggerate. Like you're promising people 10K months when you are yourself at 5K. Maybe you hit one 10K month in the last 2 years. And therefore you're like, well, yeah, I'm a life coach, but I have to promise this because it's measurable and it's tangible, right? Or you are somebody that focuses on body positivity, but again, measurable and tangible. So you're like, I'm going to help you lose 30 pounds in the next 12 weeks. And you're like, really? I'm struggling with my weight right now. And a lot of my clients are not losing that amount. They're losing much less. Some of them are not losing any weight at all. How do I show up? I actually literally had a client that struggled with this a few years ago, right? And that is a real problem. But the thing is that the problem is at the core that you don't really understand the outcome that you deliver. Screw the measurable and tangible. It doesn't have to be putting yourself in a box that sounds and looks like everybody else out there. That's not what it needs to be at all. Instead, it's about really figuring out what is it that I actually do and not being afraid to go there. Yes, we want to ground it for people to understand what that means, right? Because obviously that's important. But don't put yourself in a box of like, well, now I'm a money-making coach when you are like a health coach, right? You're like promising people that they're going to make more money. That's not what you're supposed to be doing. So you really need to understand outcome. And, you know, if you're like, I'm promising weight loss and these women are not losing weight, yet they're coming out of your program and feeling like this is the best investment that they've ever made in their lives because now they feel in love with their bodies again and they love food in a different way and they're appreciating everything. That's a really powerful outcome too, an outcome that people will pay a lot of money for as well. It all comes down to you messaging yourself in the right way and communicating your value, articulating it in the most powerful way so that people get it. They understand it. But don't think that you have to depend on these numbers for people to be able to buy from you. So here you are putting yourself in this box of like, I'm selling, helping you generate 10K a month. And you are like a therapist that has nothing to do with this, but you're like, but this is the thing that sells and I want to move from therapy into coaching. So let's go. It makes no sense. Obviously you're going to be feeling imposter syndrome when that happens. Does that make sense? Or it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. So the first thing that you need to make sure that you're doing is really understanding your outcome, really going deep into defining and communicating what your outcome is. The second thing that's really important here goes a little bit deeper into who your ideal audience is, right? Because let's say that you do have your outcome down correctly and you feel confident with the outcome. But if you're getting a lot of people that are not getting results, it might be an issue with your audience, meaning you're not attracting the right people because the right people, given that you have a process, and that's a whole other story for another day. I'm not going to get into that today because it's going to make this too long. But given that you have a process and you have a framework, a methodology, a system that you take people through, right? Given that, the right people should be getting results through your system. And if they're not getting results, when you're giving support and you have all these processes in place, there might be something off with the people that you're enrolling. And that might be a thing of like, I'm enrolling people because I need to make money and this person said yes, so I'm bringing them on. But it also might be, again, come back to your messaging, very likely, right? Because if you're speaking to the victim mentality people, you're being that Ursula, like I like to call it, where you're speaking to the poor, unfortunate soul, the people that are in victim mentality, blaming everybody else. It's everybody else's problem or fault that they're not getting results. I'm stuck because of that coach. I made this investment and that didn't work. My boss, my husband, my wife, it's everybody else but me, right? They're not taking self-responsibility and therefore they're joining your program, they're enrolling, but they're like leeches taking your energy, your presence, and they need you. They're not resourceful. They're not taking action. They're not doing the thing. Obviously, they will not get results, right? So again, it comes down to your messaging. Instead, you need to make sure that you're speaking to the type of people who are action takers, who are leaders, who are going to understand how systems and processes work. Some things take time. Some things take effort. They take this, they take that. So we really need to make sure that you're speaking to the right person, I call them like the ready to invest client, the ready to invest version of your client, right? That premium version of your client is what I'm trying to say. When you fix these two things, your outcome and your audience, you should be getting more results, right? That imposter syndrome that you're feeling right now, it's valid, but it's only valid because of your messaging. That is the thing that has been failing you. You're putting yourself in this box around your outcomes. You're putting yourself in this box around your audience, and therefore it's not working for you. So the way that you make it work is by learning how to improve that message. And you want to go to Ready to Invest. You know what, I'm going to say this, readytoinvestclients.com, because I have a training that walks you through how to speak to and attract the Ready to Invest premium version of your clients, high quality leads, the type of people who are here to take action. And you're also going to learn how to communicate your outcome in a more powerful way. So make sure you go to readytoinvestclients.com to watch that training, and let me know in the comments below if any of this resonated, if all of it resonated. I hope that it did, and I will see you in another